Welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I am Logan.
And I'm Luke.
And this is episode 15, and we will be discussing some of our comfort movies and just a little bit of, what we like, what we turn on, what we just, have in the background and whatnot. Just different stuff.
Just easy viewing. Just usually for me, like, my comfort movies I just put on because of the amount of times I've seen them and, like, how familiar they are to me. But I know for starting off with this topic, like, my number one comfort movie, and this is just like, I don't know why I've seen this movie so many times, is National Treasure.
Yeah.
And National Treasure 2. But I know for as long as I can remember, my family and I will watch this movie a lot. Like, we can quote it to each other. It's Nicolas Cage. It's straightforward, kind of like action adventure-y. And now, like, ever since I started dating my girlfriend, like, she watches it all the time too. We put this movie on in the background all the time, or if we just have nothing better to put on. But it has gotten to a point with this movie where my family, a few years ago, on Christmas, like, there was a few Christmases in a row where we're like, let's watch this, like, movie that we haven't seen before. And then we'd watch it and just would hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, okay, well, like, let's just make the tradition is we're going to watch National Treasure 1 and 2 on Christmas Day every year. And since then, that's just like, we finish opening each other's presents and giving each other stuff, and it's just like, all right, throw on National Treasure. But yeah, that's definitely my number one comfort movie.
I would say my number one comfort movie is probably Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Just because I used to have it when I was little on, like, DVD and stuff, and we turn it on all the time. But I had seen Tokyo Drift probably, I have no idea how many times. Like, more than I could count.
Yeah.
I remember when we lived at our old house, I was keeping track, and within the last year that we lived there, I remember telling you I think I watched it like 7 times in that year or something like that. Just because, like, I'd just be hanging out and I'd just turn it on randomly and just watch it. And it's always good too. Like, I don't get tired of it. I know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm like, oh, heck yeah.
For sure. I know, well, I still have only watched the first 2 Fast and Furious movies, and I'm still baffled every time there's a new one coming out where it's like, the fate of the world rests with my family. And then I watched the first one and it's literally just like, we're going to drag race and, like, infiltrate.
It was so different. The good old days.
Yeah. So I'd be very curious to go back through those. I just feel like I've had such a small introduction to it. I'm not even to where I think, like, The Rock is in it and stuff.
No, not at all.
But yeah, those, I can understand it because I know a lot of people kind of think of those movies like that just because they've been around their whole lives. But one thing I'll throw out there is, like, another thing I consider comfort movies is pretty much any of the original trilogy or the prequel movie of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically out of those ones, I feel like the most comforting one of them is A New Hope, just because it's, like, easy to watch and, like, easy to jump into, and it's just, like, classic, straightforward as Star Wars as you get.
Yeah.
So that one's definitely a major comfort movie of mine.
Yeah, I think I kind of share that sentiment just because when I was little, I, like, loved Star Wars. Like, had all the action figures, you know what I mean? Like, everything.
Yeah.
Love Star Wars.
Also, that movie, A New Hope, was on TV all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just flip through channels and you find it. It's just like, all right, like, keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely watched my fair share of Star Wars when I was younger, and I had, like, the original trilogy box set and stuff. So, I mean, I would watch it all the time, too. So, I could definitely consider that one of my comfort movies.
Yeah.
I have some that I know you'd probably share as well as comfort movies. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. I put like a lot of superhero movies up there as comfort movies, but Yeah, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies for sure. Especially, I don't know why, but I really associate the first one with like if I'm staying up really late or something and I just want to put something on, I'll put that one on. I don't know why. That one's like a late night movie for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, I had all those on DVD growing up too, and obviously I love Spider-Man, so we've talked about it before in other episodes. But,
Classic Spider-Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up watching it all the time, so now whenever I'm like, I don't know what to watch, just throw one of those on, doesn't matter which one, I'm just like, yep.
It's so
Spider-Man.
like iconic too, and just like
Mm.
everything that's coming. It's still, I feel like the action and stuff in it still holds up.
Mm.
Like there's a few things that are like, yeah, you can tell that's 2002, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. And me saying that about the first one doesn't take away like the other two are pretty comforting too.
Yeah.
I I don't know why, but I know out of those three, I've seen the first one and the third one far more than I've seen the second one, even though the second one's great.
That's
And
how
the
I
third
am,
one's just
too.
goofy.
Yeah. I, well, it's kind of weird, too. Like, we're talking about, like, comfort movies and stuff, which, it's movies that are, like, comforting to us. We can just turn on, mindlessly watch. We already know what's going to happen. Or, like, it's, like, sentimental or, like, means something to us. But, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's, like, like, movies where it's just, like, oh, like, I'm not cozy movies necessarily. Just like it just means like they mean
It's not
something
like
to
necessarily
us.
a heartwarming thing
Yeah.
to see Tobey Maguire chasing down Uncle Ben's killer. But yeah, it's comforting in the sense where it's just like you know it so well, and it's just you can put it on and tune into it at any given moment and be like, oh, of course, yeah.
Another one of those movies though that kind of goes against like the not really a cozy movie, but it's one of my comfort movies. Is the Nick Cage Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah.
I'd watch Ghost Rider a ton. I love that movie.
That's not like a comfort movie of mine. Like I don't really throw that on, but if I go out of my way to watch it, I definitely can understand how that can be a comfort movie. And I watch it and I still think of like, oh, this is such a iconic movie from my childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I did. It's so like it's not even like great. You know what I mean? Like CGI is weird. It's kind of goofy. But, I mean, like it's not a fantastic movie, but also it's just so cool. And I grew up with it, and it's. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I like the way that they portrayed him in that movie.
Mean, it's definitely like it's in that weird time where too, where it was like the weird pacing of like choosing what superheroes to make stuff about. So there was like Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and then it's just like Ghost Rider and Daredevil.
Yeah.
It was just like kind of weird the way
Yeah.
they space that out, but I do think that fits into that. You can place that in comfort movie territory for that. Yeah. I know, for me, another comfort movie that I have that I've also seen just an unreasonable amount of times is Mall Cop.
Yeah.
Like Paul Blart Mall Cop. And I still will watch this movie to this day and think it's like hilarious, but it's nothing like truly spectacular, like out of this world. It's just a goofy movie about a mall cop standing up to criminals. It's so like I remember seeing it in theaters for the first time when I was like 6 or whenever that came out, and thinking it was so funny that my brothers and I, who I saw it with, we went and got our parents and we're like, let's go watch this movie again because like you guys will think it's funny, they think it's funny, so that almost up there for us is like up there with watching National Treasure. Like we'll just be like, all right, throw on Mall Cop. But yeah, that was a good one.
One of the things that I've noticed as I get older and stuff is that like I had a bunch of comfort movies and stuff from when I was younger that aren't necessarily like comfort movies for me anymore, and I feel like that's just because like I was a kid, I've grown,
Yeah.
I don't like Aladdin. I used to watch Aladdin like constantly. I would watch that like all the time. Now, I haven't seen it in, years now.
Sure.
But like back then, like That was always like, yo, put that on, put that on, put that on.
Yeah, lots of like Disney and Pixar kind of movies like that. Like I used to watch Finding Nemo and Madagascar all the
Mm.
time, and like I still think of those as like those are good movies, but they're not comfort movies to me anymore. It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, I'll go watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I do think one movie like that though that was from my childhood, which I haven't lost from that, is The Incredibles,
Yeah.
because that like the story holds up, the animation is still good, and I like still really enjoy it. But I also, as I was growing up, I also this is a little off topic, but with like The Incredibles, I didn't necessarily pick up on the fact as I was growing up that Elastigirl thought Mr. Incredible was cheating on her. I was just like, oh yeah, he's just lying to his wife, whatever. Not that that's better, but
Yeah.
and now I'll go watch it and you pick up on all the adult jokes, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's intentional with a lot of Disney and Pixar stuff, is they do put stuff in there for their older audiences to watch, but also just as a kid you can grow with that movie and appreciate
Yeah.
new things about it. So I think that's something which, even for movies you don't consider a comfort movie, is like inherently comforting about these, is they don't lose their touch in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, and like we at the beginning of it, we talked about it a little bit, and I feel like that's part of like the comfort movies and stuff like that, is that you can throw them on whenever, you can watch them, and they hold up. You don't get tired of them. Because I mean, if you're gonna get tired of it, then you wouldn't want to turn it on again. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be a comfort movie necessarily just because you wouldn't want to watch it all the time.
Yeah, one that I have that you were saying, like one that was a comfort movie as a kid, but like you don't really like watch it as a comfort movie anymore, that I had was the movie Holes,
Mm.
like where they dig the pits in the desert and like eat the sweet onions
Yeah.
and whatnot. I watched that all the time because like my brothers and I a lot of times would go to our grandparents' house and they just had that movie on DVD and we were like, oh, let's watch Holes. And now I can like quote Holes just because I saw it all those times as I was growing up. So that, I think, it's probably one of the weirder answers I have for a comfort movie, just because like Holes with Shia LaBeouf and John Voight back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely what I had out there though.
I think, I mean, when I was younger, one of my comfort movies I kind of stepped away from was Fox and the Hound.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really good, actually. It's a really old Disney cartoon. It's yeah, it's one of those where like I like it, but it's not really like a comfort movie anymore. Just because I feel like I would get like tired of it, so I kind of put it on the back burner just so I don't get sick of it. And then when I do go back to rewatch it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. I have one that's weird, and I'm not 100% sure I'd call it like a comfort movie, because I wouldn't watch this movie to be comforted if I was looking for something like that, but it's just something that started happening. Is my girlfriend Natalie and I will watch we watch a lot of horror movies just because we're like, oh, it'll shock us, scare us, whatever. But for some reason, and not like I mind this at all, we'll like when we're working, we're just like, you want to put something on in the back, and then just so we like decide quickly on something, we'll throw on The Conjuring. And it's not a comforting movie. It's like dark and dreary and stuff, but now it's gotten to a point where we're like quoting it while we're watching it and like making fun of stuff going on. And I think that's just that has somehow made it into the pool in my head of comfort movies. It's so ironic just because of the context of that movie is so dark, and it's a legitimate horror movie.
Yeah.
You don't watch it for the heartwarmingness of it.
Do you have any comfort movies that are like cozy movies like we talked about earlier?
Well, I think talking about if you're going to a movie specifically designated for comfort, or like to like have your spirits lifted, I think I don't know if I have necessarily like a go-to one, but
Mhm.
some that I can think of that I'd go to if I was looking for something like that is like any Pixar movie. So like
Yeah.
Toy Story, well like the first two because
Yeah,
the last two
we don't need to
just
talk about that.
devastating. Yeah, but probably like Toy Story 1 or 2, Monsters Inc., uh, Finding Nemo
Mm.
especially is a pretty comforting movie. Uh, and then I'll have to like think on it if there's any live action movies I think of like that.
Mm.
What about you?
I I think well, Cars is up
Cars,
there.
yeah,
Cars is up there.
very feel good movie.
It is. And then as far as like cozy movies go, I really think like it's one of my comfort movies, but it's also just super cozy. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I've not seen that.
You've not Fantastic Mr. Fox is
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
I do love that. One of them's kind of darker and it's like eerie, kind of creepy, but I think it's like a cozy movie, especially for like it's rainy day or something. You're just
Yeah.
sitting at home. Coraline.
Oh yeah, I saw it once like a long way back, but I don't know.
It gives me cozy rainy day.
Cozy rainy day. Speaking of like cozy rainy day comfort movies, I feel like the most comforting out of this series is the third Harry Potter movie
Oh yeah.
because like it itself feels like a rainy day movie and a lot of it takes place while it's like raining and dreary out,
Mm.
but also just like it's so like childhoody based
Mm.
and it's just easy, it's relatively lighthearted, and it's not like too difficult to like take in or anything. Like it's a
Yeah.
very easy watch.
Honestly, I could probably put any of the Harry Potter movies as
Yeah.
my
As a
comfort movie list.
I'd say probably like the earlier ones probably more so in
Yeah.
terms of like comfort movies, but I'd say probably any of them before like 6 I could throw
Mm.
on as a comfort movie.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way too. Fun little story, kind of going off on a tangent here,
Yeah,
but
go for
whatever. I had like the whole DVD box set of all the Harry Potters when I was young. Well, all the ones that were out at
Yeah.
that point. I don't even remember when. But my first little crush ever when I was in like preschool or like kindergarten, something like that.
Mm.
She loved Harry Potter. So then I was like, I gotta get in on this, and that's how I found out that I liked Harry Potter. Is because she was obsessed with it,
Yeah.
and then young me was like, oh, let's see what this is all
Gotta
about.
see.
And then boom,
Yeah.
I was in on it. I was hooked.
That was the beginning of becoming a Harry Potter fan. Well, I have a question going off of this. Is like not even necessarily as like something that you think of as a comfort movie, but since we were talking about it earlier, do you have any movies that, as you were growing up, you'd always want to watch it, but it's not necessarily even like a comfort movie, just one where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to watch that.
I want to watch that. Well, besides the ones I said already, like Tokyo Drift and Ghost Rider and all that, Spider Man, because those were all just ones
Yeah.
that just constantly.
Yeah.
I always, for whatever reason, wanted to watch The Cat in the Hat live action.
Yeah, the Cat in the Hat live action.
That was, I don't know why, I loved it. And then also, and this is one that could go into like my current comfort movies, I guess, but I don't watch it as much. Shrek, I would watch.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
watch Shrek all the time too.
Yeah.
Shrek's awesome.
Well, I'll give. There's some here that I'm like overlooking. I feel like there's so many '80s movies
Mm.
that I could lump into like comfort movie categories of like, I either saw it when I was growing up and it like was really, like, eye opening for me. Specifically like those like coming of age '80s movies like Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller,
Oh, yeah.
and especially Ferris Bueller.
Mm.
I could throw on as a comfort movie anytime. Granted, I had access to it because it moves around a lot on streaming, but
Yeah.
that movie, I feel like it has like a little bit of like seriousness to it, like very minute though. Like it's mainly a feel good
Yeah.
movie, and it has that '80s vibe that there's just movies you can't make like that
Yeah.
nowadays, and I don't. It's not even like because of anything controversial or like wrong with it. It's just they can't catch that vibe again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as it goes, too, like, I feel like 80s movies, just in general, are just, like, comforting. Like, the
Yeah.
80s vibe itself has always been, like, comforting to me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know why too. And now I'm like thinking about '80s movies. I think about I watched Terminator when I was like 12, and I'm like, yeah, that movie. I would watch it when I was like sick and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But going back a little bit, I don't know why, but a movie that I always wanted to watch, and for some reason I had so much trouble watching it, even though I'd seen it before, and like I wasn't not able to watch it, was The Matrix.
Mm.
I'd always want to watch it, and I was like obsessed with it. I was like, this is so cool. Like this guy wearing sunglasses and machine guns and flying through the air and stuff is just speaking my language. And I have no idea why looking back, 'cause it's a solid action movie. And it's a cool concept and everything, but I'm not like,
Mm.
I'm just like, yeah, it's The Matrix. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, like it's an iconic movie, but
Yeah.
I'm not nearly as obsessed with it now. Um, Other than that, I have like some I'd lump in there. Like I feel like there was this one movie that I watched growing up a lot called Kicking and Screaming, which is a Will Ferrell
Mm.
movie, but it's very very laid back for
Mm.
Will Ferrell. Like it's not nearly it's barely vulgar, but it's Will Ferrell teaches a little school soccer league, or no, like a soccer team, and it's like he wants to beat his dad at it, who also coaches his own little league team, and
Mm.
his dad has this feud with their next door neighbor, who happens to be Mike Ditka, like from the Bears. So Will Ferrell like hires Mike Ditka to be his assistant coach to teach like a bunch of third graders how to play little league soccer. That I feel like I have these movies in my mind where when I think about it, I'm like, that was the first movie I thought was so action packed or like so funny.
Mm.
That movie I thought was so funny, and I still think it's funny when I go watch it now. It's just in terms of how it hit me in my childhood, I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
that was. I'd still watch that as a comfort movie. I just don't go out of my way as much for it.
I think the last one, which this is a little bit different, just because it's not like one that I throw on like constantly, but I think about it a lot, and like anytime I see it, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put that on. Was the first rated R movie that I ever watched. No, well, to my knowledge at least, I went to see it in theaters, rated R. The first one that I knowingly went to see in the theaters, Paul, the
Oh
alien,
yeah,
yeah, alien movie with
yeah,
Seth Rogen.
yeah.
That movie's awesome.
I think I've seen that. I saw that. I feel like a few years ago, so I don't remember it super well. But yeah, I could see that.
Because we saw it in theaters, and then obviously, I was younger and stuff, so I was like giddy because I was like my first rated R movie. And honestly, it wasn't really like too bad. They didn't get into much like bad stuff as far as like rated R movies go, but it was cussing, this, that, and the other,
Sure.
whatever, stupid jokes. But I was like so excited. I was like, yes, first rated R movie.
Yeah.
And then I liked it a lot, and I kind of just carried that with me. So anytime I see it, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like rated R movies, one that I guess I could qualify as a comfort movie because I watched it a ton for some reason for a while. I would watch the first Deadpool movie
Mm.
for like I don't know why I watched it all the time. So I know that movie really well, and that movie's kind of it's like it's goofy and action, so it's just like it's easy to watch. But also jumping from that into like last superhero things, and this is like the last thing I'll throw out there for this is the first Avengers movie is such a like childhood classic because I was talking about movies that come out, and I remember them as being like the first movie where I felt a certain way about a movie.
Mm.
That movie came out, and I don't think I'd seen anything that was so like non-stop action from beginning to end where I was just blown away by it. And so anytime I watch it now, it's very like nostalgic for childhood memories of action movies and such.
Yeah, as far as action movies go, and like superhero movies too, besides the ones I already named, this is probably like the last one. I forgot about it until just now, until you said that. I had the Incredible Hulk on DVD, and it was probably like that was one where like I always wanted to watch it. It was
Yeah.
up there.
Just because you see Hulk, like, going nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would watch that all the time. So that one's another one of them that I forgot about. But I would like constantly want to watch that, dude.
Yeah.
Hulk was like,
Hulk that hasn't been that way since that movie.
No.
And he's still kicking around.
yeah,
Man. Yeah, wow. That's nostalgic. I do remember, too, like, Avengers was not my first introduction to, like, Marvel movies and, like, where they are now. But I think before I saw that, I'd only seen the Iron Man movies, so Avengers was also such a, like, hard kick in the door for, like, introducing me to all of this stuff. So I'll go watch Avengers now and be like, wow. I remember going back and then watching, like, Thor and Captain America after that to, like, fill in where they were leading up to this. And yeah, so Avengers I consider like a childhood comfort movie.
yeah.
But I can still watch it now and be like, dang, this is good action.
Good movie.
A good movie. Alright. Do you have any more comfort movies you'd like to touch on?
I think that about does it for me.
Alrighty. Well, this has been episode 15 of the Mild Opinion Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.